Today's video is for my veterans. If you're a transitioning service member and you're coming into law enforcement, then you're gonna want to know about this special perk that you're entitled to. Let's get into it. So you're a veteran. You've done your time, you served your country, and you did it well. Now you're getting out and you're transitioning into law enforcement so that you can continue to serve in a community capacity. That's amazing. And benefit that you're entitled to as a veteran coming out is you being able to buy into your retirement using your military time. Typically, a department has a benefit for veterans specifically that will let you buy back up to 60 months or 5 years of the time that you served in the military and use it as a credit towards your retirement so that you can bounce on out of there early. Typically, to be eligible for this benefit, you have to have gotten out of the military with an honorable discharge. And there really is no time limit. They basically allow you from any time that you start working for the department up until the day you retire. You can have any time in between that to begin this buyback option. So how does it work? Well, all right, let's take an example. Let's say you work for a department and they have a typical 20-year retirement with a 3% multiplier. So at the end of your 20-year stint, the department is going to add up your 20 years, times that by a 3% multiplier to give you a retirement percentage or pension percentage of 60%. Now, utilizing this buyback or retirement buy-in option, you can, let's say you did 4 years in the military, you can take those 4 years, buy them back, okay, and retire at technically 16 years, but get a full service credit of 20 years. So you end up doing less time on the streets because you've already served your country. And you can retire earlier with the same benefit that someone who did a full 20 would get. For those truly enterprising, right, vets, you can work the full 20, then still buy back those 4 or 5 years for an increased percentage. So now, instead of getting credit for just 20 years, you're getting credit for 24 to 25 years, which is going to give you more pension on the back end. It's a very powerful tool if used correctly. And not everyone who joins the police department is entitled to it. And primarily, there are some unique situations. But from what I know, and from what I'm able to find, every police department on a local level has some sort of benefit like this for veterans. Now, before you get too excited, typically departments put a cap of 4 to 6 years maximum, right? So let's say you did 10 years in the military, got out, and you're trying to buy back your retirement time. They're not going to let you buy back 10 years, right? On a 20-year career, right? They got to get some work out of you, right? They got to have you contribute for X amount of time into the pension system to keep it afloat for as long as possible, right? So typically there is a 4 to 6 year maximum cap placed on how much you can buy back from your military time. So just keep that in mind. Don't get carried away. So how much does this benefit, this retirement buyback, retirement buy-in option cost? Now, I know you didn't think that you were going to get something like this for free, even though you've served, right? No, it's not a free benefit. It's just a benefit that is available to you because you're a veteran, but it's not free. So typically, the way departments determine how much it costs you to use it is based on your salary. So whatever your salary is in that moment in time, when you say, hey, I want to buy into these years, then that's how much they're going to charge. Now, there are two kind of competing trains of thought on this process, right? There's the ones who say that you should do it early in your career because that's when you're making the least. right? So that's when you're going to technically be charged the least amount of money for those years that you want to buy into. However, you're also making the lowest amount of money that you're going to make throughout your whole career. So the chances are, let's say you're making $50,000 starting off, you want to buy 4 years. The chances are you're not going to have 200 grand just laying around. So there's that. Now, the other train of thought is on the completely opposite end of the spectrum. Those people say that it's best to wait toward the tail end of your career when you've promoted some, you're pretty senior in those step raise pay scales, and you're making a lot of money. The problem with that is, again, so let's say you're making $120,000 a year now, right? And you want to buy back those 4 years. Well, now that's going to cost you $480,000 instead of that $250,000 that it was going to cost you early in your career when you were only making $50K. But the expectation is that you have investments, you have savings, you've had time to build up more money and a bit of a nest egg to take advantage of this benefit. Regardless, it's going to cost you money. And it's at this point where it is a slight turn off to a lot of people because they see that huge number and they're just like, oh, I'll do the years. But there is a distinct advantage in being able to work less time and still be able to get your pension benefit, or work until you're eligible for your retirement benefit and then still claim a higher percentage because you bought in additional years for your retirement. That's going to pay off over the long term. So lastly, you might be thinking, well, how do I pay for this? Typically, this is not in every situation, but typically once you tell your department that you want to utilize this benefit, you're going to have to pay for those years up front, like in a lump sum at once, which is why it's pretty difficult for new officers to do it. And typically people wait till the end of their career, but you have both options available to you. Typically, you can pay for this benefit either with credit card, debit card if you have the cash. A more traditional way that many people pay for it is by using their retirement vehicles. So you can pay with this with an IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, or 457b, which if you followed any of my earlier videos, you know I am a big advocate for all of those vehicles. And if you are doing what you're supposed to early in career, you will have more than enough in those retirement vehicles to take care of and utilize this benefit to its maximum potential. So it's not all, it's not all ice cream and cookies and cake and sprinkles. There are some drawbacks. I encourage you to do your own research because, again, a lot of these programs are really department specific, and I'm just kind of hitting the high notes to make you aware of it. But one of the big ones are for veterans who are retiring, like getting a full-on pension from the military and then transitioning into like a second career into law enforcement. Typically in those situations, departments do not let you utilize this retirement buy-in option when you're already receiving a pension from the military and working in law enforcement. Why that is, I have no idea. It's not for every police department. It's only for some, but it may be a thing at the department where you're trying to go to. So I suggest that you look into it and you read your benefit package. So you may be watching this, you'd be like, man, this sounds awesome, but I'm not a vet. Kind of sucks. Why do vets always get this type of stuff? Blah, 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 blah. Well, in some instances, this retirement buyback option may be available to people who aren't veterans. It's just more commonly offered to veterans. But some other instances where you might be eligible at a police department to utilize this retirement buyback option is if you are an out-of-state, like lateral transfer. So you were working as a police officer in another department, another state, and you move states for whatever reason, and come on over, it may be an option that they offer. Maybe you're staying in state, right? And you're just kind of switching departments or going from state to county or state to city. It may be an option that they allow you to use your previous service and buy back up to 4, 5, 6 years into your retirement. It's not always offered, but it is an option in some departments. Again, always do your research so you can have the most information when you're trying to make these decisions. Well, that's it for this week. That's it for this video. As always, if you found the video helpful, please like, comment, subscribe. All right, share it on social media. We're creeping up on 100 subscribers at the date of filming this video, so help us get there. All right, it's Xavier, Cadet Rookie Cop. As always, stay blessed, and I will see you guys on the next one.